How many? Time to roll out the secret weapon.
She's cute. Is that right?
Amy. Winston Churchill.
Imagine that.
Is it you?
Winston, my old friend.
Hug it out.
Every time.
What's he up to?
TARDIS key, of course.
So you've changed your face again?
Yeah, well, had a bit of work done.
Got it.
Action this day.
Yes, sir.
She's lovely.
Anything that will give us an advantage over the Nazi menace.
Such as?
Enter Daleks.
It's
History.
Ready,
Yeah.
Fire!
what was that?
That wasn't human. That was never human technology.
Our new secret weapon.
Look at this, Commander Dalek.
And what is your ultimate aim?
To win the war.
Yeah.
They're Daleks. They're called Daleks.
They are Bracewell's Ironsides. Fella's a genius.
A Scottish genius too. Maybe you should listen to him.
Oh. Whoa, great shot. Another split diopter.
And totally hostile.
The Ironsides seem too good to be true.
Yes, right. So destroy them. Exterminate them.
But imagine what I could do with 100. 1,000.
I am imagining. Tell him
Tell him what?
about the Daleks.
What would I know about the Daleks?
Yeah.
Everything. They invaded your world, remember? Planets in the sky. You don't forget that.
Doctor?
Amy. Tell me you remember the Daleks.
No, sorry.
Whoa. Okay. That ominous music kicked in again. The crack music. The crack music. Motif.
If Hitler invaded hell, I would give a favorable reference to the devil. These machines are our salvation.
The Daleks are death.
Yes, Doctor. Death to our enemies. Death to the forces of darkness. And death to the Third Reich.
Yes, Winston, and death to everyone else, too.
Would you care for some tea?
Oh, damn.
This! What are you doing here? What do you want?
Okay, soldier.
Defend yourself.
Oh, boy.
You do not require
Kill me!
Victor, be careful!
these kisses from striking me. I am your soldier.
And I am yours! I am the Doctor. And you are the Daleks.
The kick.
Review testimony.
I am the Doctor. And you are the Daleks.
Testimony. What are you talking about, testimony?
Whoa.
Transmitting testimony now.
Transmit what? Where?
We are the Daleks.
I created you.
No. We created you.
Oh.
How about that cover now, then?
It is the Doctor exterminate.
Wait. I wouldn't if I were you. TARDIS self-destruct, and you know what that means. My ship moves, you all go with it.
Biscuit.
You don't have the power to destroy London.
Watch as the humans destroy themselves.
Mmm. Whoa. Whoa. That look on his face. New colors.
They made me. I can remember things. So many things.
It's kind of like a replicant.
Now, I don't give a damn if you're a machine, Bracewell. Are you a man?
Oh.
Listen to me. I understand. Really. I do.
Yes, you are inferior. Yes.
They're gonna destroy you. For the greater good, eh? They're ready for this.
Don't mess with me, sweetheart.
I've got a biscuit.
All right, it's a jammy dodger, but I was promised
Jammy
me.
Dodger. Look at this, more Star Wars references. Or it's similar at least. Got him. That looked great. Well, that's a great shot.
Do your worst, Adolf.
I let you scuttle off back to the future. No
Oh, this should be
fear.
interesting. They'll say...
This is the end for you.
No, they'll say something that'll catch his attention.
Bracewell is a bomb.
Ah.
You're bluffing.
Then do it. But we will shatter the planet below. The Earth will die screaming.
And if I let you go, you'll be stronger than ever.
Oh boy.
The Doctor has failed. His compassion is his greatest weakness. Zombies have no such weakness. Detonation sequence activated.
Yeah, they were gonna do it anyways, right?
Establishing.
Someone else's stolen thoughts implanted in a positronic brain.
Huh.
Tell me about it, Bracewell. Tell me about your life.
They died of scarlet fever.
What was that like? How did it feel? How did it make you feel, Edwin? Tell me now.
It hurt. It hurt, Doctor. It hurt so badly. It hurts so much.
Good, brilliant. Embrace it. That means you're alive.
If
Uh-oh.
you fancied someone you know you shouldn't.
What?
Hurts, doesn't it?
Hmm.
But kind of a good hurt.
Dorabella.
Dorabella. It's a lovely name. It's a beautiful name.
What was she like, Edwin?
Her eyes were so blue. Almost violet. Like the last touch of sunset. The edge of the world.
You're brilliant. You're brilliant. And you, Now, gonna stop them, stop the darkness.
Wait, Doctor, wait. It's too late.
You will never defeat us, Doctor.
They'll be back.
Return.
They're always back. Ooh.
Doctor, it's okay. You did it. You stopped the bomb. Doctor?
I had a choice, and they knew I'd choose the Earth. No, not too shabby.
So brilliant achievement, my dear friend.
There are terrible days to come. The darkest days, but you can do it. You know you can.
The darkest hour.
Help us win through. The world needs you.
The world doesn't need me. The world's got Winston, Spencer, Churchill.
It's been a pleasure, Doctor.
There you go. I was gonna say hug it out earlier, but
Oi, Churchill. TARDIS key. The one you just took from the doctor?
Oh, she's good, Doctor. Sharp.
10 minutes.
More like 15.
15 minutes, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. You are going to be so deactivated. It's going to be like you've never even been activated.
15 minutes.
Mind you, you can get a lot done in half an hour.
come on. That's lovely.
Thank you, Doctor.
Come along, Pond.
Come along, pond.
Here's me thinking we'd just be running through time, being daft and fixing stuff. But no. It's dangerous.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Harry. Something we've forgotten, or rather you have.
Me?
You didn't know them, Amy. You'd never seen them before, and you should have done. You should.
Oh, there's that crack again. Okay. Okay, folks, episode 3 of the Matt Smith era. Now, before I get into anything else, I simply have to tackle that ending and this, ongoing setup since the first episode, the crack that appears to be following the Doctor and Amy. But I think in this case, Amy specifically, because it originated in her room, right? It was there before the Doctor showed up. So I think this is certainly attached to Amy, her presence to me, it feels like it's her presence in these different locations that's causing this crack, or it's following her, right? There's something attached to her. Now, in terms of taking a guess, in terms of theorizing a bit, I guess I'll have to go back to episode 1 and some of the setup there. Young Amy, Amelia Pond, in that beautiful scene in the beginning, right? The Doctor and Amelia in the kitchen, trying out different foods and having that conversation. One of the key moments of that was her mentioning that she doesn't have a mom and a dad, just an aunt, right? So I think that's something I certainly have to keep in mind here. The parents, or the lack of parents, or the absence of these parents, right? Because they didn't specify. She just said, I don't have a mom and a dad. So, from that, I guess you can assume maybe they passed on, maybe they died, right? So certainly have to put a pin in that. But even Olivia Colman's character in The 11th Hour, her reaction to the Doctor not knowing the cause of the crack was quite noticeable, right? Like, she was really amused by it. So even there, I think it kind of felt like, it's like right there, maybe, it is attached to Amelia Pond, and the Doctor doesn't even know it. So I thought maybe she found that amusing. Let's see. There's certainly something going on there. So yeah, as far as theorizing goes, or guesses go, as of this point, I'm assuming that it is something attached to Amy Pond, or it is something being caused by Amy Pond's presence. But then, if that's the angle I'm taking here, the next question becomes, why Amy Pond, right? Amelia Pond. That in itself then makes her backstory even more interesting. I mean, I got a backstory, right? That was one of the great aspects of 11th Hour, because I got a backstory for a companion as a young child. But it appears that there's even more backstory to that from the looks of it. And I'm guessing this is going to continue, right? In all the episodes, perhaps, given that Amy, unless she's not, I mean, she is a companion, so she is going to be in pretty much every episode, right? So yeah, maybe every episode I'm going to see a glimpse of the crack, right? And it's probably because Amy Pond is there. So, that all of a sudden just, that certainly introduces a totally different type of dynamic. But, like I mentioned in my discussion for episode 1, to me, it was clear that there is a bit more to Amy Pond's introduction as a companion to that character. Again, it was quite a nuanced introduction to a companion, given the time span they kind of spend establishing her character, right? So yeah, there's certainly something going on there. There's something going on there. So let's keep an eye out on that. But, moving on to the episode itself, I thought it was a great outing for Amy Pond and the Doctor, and those two as a duo once again, right? They're really starting to get the rhythm going, and she's starting to learn about the Doctor, and he's starting to learn about her, right? Of course, there was great moments in The Beast Below, but now it's all about kind of getting into that routine, really getting to know each other as a pair. So, you know each other's qualities and how you can bounce off of each other. They need to know about each other's qualities and the things they bring to the table, their disposition, their moods, right? You see the Doctor goes through a few of them in this. So, in that sense, Amy Pond kind of gets to see the Doctor really, she already kind of saw it. He was quite angry in The Beast Below, but, you see her and how he kind of, she saw that, this is the Doctor's biggest enemy, right? A lifelong enemy. And it's a really long life. But, she sees him kind of go face to face, and she sees how he kind of reacts to this being, the Dalek, right? And yeah, she sees the rage of the Doctor. He certainly flips out, right? And, the thing I liked here is that, throughout the episode, in the first half, as he's trying to convince Churchill that, no, this is a Dalek. This is an alien species that I've been fighting my entire life, right? And I've been defeating my entire life, or, that back and forth. Though again, in this episode, it was it was kind of a loss, wasn't it, for the Doctor? And you see, he almost kind of had a panic attack. You see Amy recognizes that in his face and kind of immediately goes to him, right? It was just this, yeah, you know, it was, I'm not used to seeing the Doctor like that. Because he realized, you know, by making one choice, he made another choice as well. And that choice is quite a substantial one. He let those Daleks go. These really new rainbow-colored Daleks. Interesting take, interesting look. Again, I'm not sure if this is something completely new or it's kind of bit of a callback to, you know, older Doctor Who. But yeah, you know, you see each one of them kind of comes out. It's almost like a fashion show, right? Each one gets a chance to come out, that line up. The audience really gets a good look at them. So yeah, new look for the Daleks. Though I must say, you know, I don't mind the metallic look of the Daleks. The one I've known so far in the show. It's gonna get some getting used to, that's for sure. You know, they're much larger, much taller. And yeah, there's a bunch of them. And they're out there now. So that was the thing, right? The Doctor is afraid that now that he's let them go, they are going to grow stronger. And, you know, the possibilities of that are kind of unthinkable, right? That he let the Daleks go. That because of this choice he made, they are going to get stronger and they are going to come back. You know, sooner or later, they are going to make an entrance again. Though I hope it's not for some time yet. Though I also hope it's not near the conclusion. You know, I think I've seen too many Dalek in the finale type story at this point. Yeah, you know, I'll be okay if the Daleks don't show up for some time. But yeah, you know, a decent reintroduction of the Daleks, you know, it kind of had to be done at some point, right? To have our new Doctor face off against the Daleks. And it's done it really early on here in his run in episode 3. But circling back to my point about, you know, the Doctor in the first half trying to convince Churchill about these Daleks, you know, you see that slowly he starts getting really frustrated, and then he kind of lashes out. At one point, he just kind of blows up, right? Starts attacking the Dalek. There's a, you know, again, there's quite a rawness to it. He just kind of blows up. He's fed up, you know. It's really bizarre. And I mean, even for me, it's quite bizarre to see the Daleks, you know, being so friendly and serving up tea even. So, you know, you can only imagine the Doctor's position in that moment, you know, just seeing this really bizarre situation play out. And he knows, right? It's not as if he's second guessing himself. He knows for a fact that, okay, they're up to something. But, you know, he's not able to quite put his finger on it. In that sense, they also kind of used him, right? And he kind of fell into their trap. Even though I'm saying I don't really need another Dalek story anytime soon, I thought it was an interesting take on the Daleks. You know, a different spin to reintroduce them in this manner, right? Because it does seem to get repetitive every now and then, you know, the Dalek stories. At least the first half of this had a new take on it, right? Bit of a mystery. I mean, personally, I knew from the beginning, you know, you cannot trust the Daleks. So I knew there is some play here, right? But much like the Doctor, I was also kind of perplexed by this, right? So in that sense, you know, it was kind of perfect, you know, that the Doctor and I kind of get the revelation together. Now, going back to Amy, you know, a lot of great moments for Amy, but, you know, I must say, I think she was actually kind of underutilized in this episode. She took a bit of a back seat. Every now and then she would kind of jump in. But of course, her big moment came near the conclusion, you know, so that's 2 episodes running now that she ended up being the answer to the conundrum, right? To the big conundrum at hand. And this time it was, I thought the scene itself was a great scene, and the acting on display was quite nice. And, you know, I finally figured out, like, that man who played the android, the replicant, his face felt so familiar to me. And then, you know, I just realized he played the dad in Fleabag. And I feel like I've seen him in other stuff as well, right? He's got that face that you just immediately know you've seen in other stuff, be it shows or films. And that tends to happen a lot with British actors, right? Again, British actors are some of the best around. So, you know, they do tend to show up in a lot of different things, be it television and film or film. So, yeah, you know, it was great to see a familiar face. And, you know, I quite like that character. And I say that because, you know, I've seen that type of character before. You know, a lot of people, you know, maybe this did get inspiration from Blade Runner, though I don't want to spoil anything. Again, it's a film from the 80s, but still, if you haven't seen it, it's still considered a spoiler, right? Even if it's an old film. You could tell there's a bit of an inspiration there. And yeah, you know, I really like the idea of an android or a replicant coming to terms with their existence. You know, I've seen that in a lot of different films and shows and stories. The Doctor deciding that it's okay to let him go, right? That he doesn't need to be deactivated. Though, of course, it took a few tries, right, to really get him to understand, you know, what they're trying to do here. Great little moment, great scene. But yeah, I loved his delivery of those lines as Amy steps in to, again, take a different approach, right? You know, both the Doctor and Amy try to apply those human emotions, try to bring out those human emotions, but you see the Doctor is kind of gravitated towards, or naturally, he is channeling or, you know, latching onto the sorrow, the pain, the anguish, right? The anger, the hurt, right? So he's kind of, you know, trying to dig into that, and he's trying to get the scientist, I can't remember his name, but he's trying to get him to latch onto those feelings, those raw emotions, right? The hurt. So, you know, that in that sense, you see the Doctor and the companion at play once again, right? The yin and the yang. That the companion is needed for that human dimension to help the Doctor remain cognizant of the human dimension. Though, of course, you know, the Doctor was also trying to use emotions, and you see that Amy is certainly quite present, and she could tell that, okay, this approach is not effective, right? She takes a different approach. She kind of goes for the good type of hurt, right? I believe she said, have you ever fancied someone you shouldn't have fancied? And of course, you know, she kind of looks up at the Doctor at that point. But, you know, she also mentioned it's a good type of hurt. So her approach is a bit more about remembering the love and the joy you felt for someone, right? And yeah, and it ended up being quite effective. And, you know, once again, I simply have to mention Murray Gold. You know, I'm loving this new track that has made a few appearances at this point, or that's played a few times at this point. You know, it has this mystical, fantastical feel, a sci-fi feel to it, right? A fairy tale feel, for sure. It's certainly in there, right? That, you know, that's the reason I'm calling it mystical and fantastical. It just has that feel to it, right? It's playing as Amy is trying to talk to the android. And of course, you know, another major aspect of the episode is the setting. So, you know, once again, the BBC and the art department, they've done a great job here with the production design and the set design, right? It's one of the long-time compliments I have for the production, that they really do excel at the period pieces, don't they? Again, you know, I really like the look of it. You could tell, you know, and by the look of it, I mean like the color grade, the final look of it, the way it's filmed. And 2 episodes in a row now, I've seen a split diopter. So that was really cool. That's really cool. So, you know, it was clear from episode 1, from the 11th hour, that, yeah, you know, there's certainly a distinct change, or there's a distinct look in the photography, that they are trying something else. They are trying something new or something different. Again, a bit more in line with the current era of television photography, right? The modern era. And, you know, going back to Churchill, I really like the dynamic that he has with the Doctor. And, you know, I really like that notion of historical figures having these long-standing relationships with the Doctor, who is a time traveler, right? So it makes sense. And he does tend to show up at grand moments, at big moments in history. So it does make sense that he knows these people, or he comes to know these people, right? Or they come to know him. And, you know, I like this running gag of Churchill trying to, you know, utilize the TARDIS, or take the TARDIS, or make use of the TARDIS, right? I'm sure Churchill had that scenario in mind as well, right? Taking the TARDIS, a time machine, back to baby Hitler, perhaps, right? You know, that age-old conundrum, right? Would you kill baby Hitler if you could? I think maybe Churchill could. I think he would. Maybe, right? And that completely makes sense, right? That Churchill is trying to, you know, take or utilize everything he can in this war, right? To give them that edge. You know, later on near the conclusion, he wants to use the Spitfires, or the alien tech that allowed the Spitfires to go into space. I mean, yes, you know, there you just kind of have to allow it, right? That in that short amount of time, they managed to get those Spitfires out there in space and functioning. It's just one of those things you just allow, I guess, right? There's no point of getting too deep into it. It is what it is. But yeah, you know, I thought some great CGI was on display during that dogfight in space. And speaking of the Daleks, I kind of forgot to mention earlier, you know, at first, I thought Amy just didn't know the specifics of the Daleks. You know, this is as the Doctor is asking Amy to tell Churchill about the evils of the Dalek, right? I thought she just didn't know the specifics, that she knew about Daleks, just not enough to, you know, speak of the Daleks. But no, you know, immediately, almost immediately, it turns out that no, she doesn't know about them at all. Like, she doesn't know. This is her first time seeing Daleks. So this kind of links back to some of the points I was making in the beginning of the discussion, right? This crack following her. And now there's this element as well that for some reason, she does not have recollection of that, right? Possibilities. Let's go into a few possibilities. Either she just forgot that part of her life, or something's happened it's erased her memory of that part, or she's not around for that part. But that's the question though. How could she not be around for that, right? So a lot of really mysterious things going on here early in relation to Amy Pond. I just hope, you know, this doesn't end up, I don't know. I just hope, you know, nothing bad happens to Amy. You know, I just met her. And of course, you know, a return to the London Blitz, you know, going back to series 1, the empty child and the doctor dances. You know, there actually felt much larger, the scale of it. Though, of course, you know, there it was a 2-parter, and, you know, they also had Jack show up as well. So the cast was much larger. And I believe a long time ago, I do remember reading a comment, maybe even as far back as series 1 comment section, that you know, the Daleks are kind of based on the Nazis, or one of the inspirations in mind for the Daleks. So yeah, you know, the fact that there's Daleks present and there's talk of master race and there's Nazis present in this episode. They don't show them, but, you know, they're present in the storyline of the episode. And of course, you know, there's a name drop of Hitler. Right then, I think that's about it for this episode. You know, there was a bit of a dip after the 11th hour, but, you know, in that sense, how do you even compare? How do you even follow up that episode? It's one of the best episodes of the show, right? So, of course, there was always going to be a bit of a drop-off after that. But yeah, you know, I'm certainly excited to continue. It's still in the early days of that relationship, right? That doctor companion duo. And of course, it's still in the early days for this new doctor, right? I'm just scratching the surface. Right then, if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. Of course, I would love to hear from some of the new subs or some of the new people that showed up for the Matt Smith era. So yeah, you know, of course, it's always lovely to have new people join up or have new people come and check out the content. And of course, you know, thank you to all the longtime supporters of my content. You know, some of you have been around since the first series, the Eccleston series, and that was a long time ago, right? It's kind of been on and off since then, but yeah. Thank you for, you know, sticking around. But if you're interested in full length or perhaps early access to the next episode right now, consider checking out the Patreon page. The link is in the description or the pinned comment. Also, there's a link to my social media, Twitter, if you're into that. So consider checking that out. Right then, that's about it for this one. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your time. And I hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.